Cancer can begin in almost any part of the body, from a tiny group of cells to an entire organ. Before cancer develops, the body's tissues are made of organized, healthy cells working together. Each cell follows biological instructions that control when it grows, divides, repairs itself, or stops. Those instructions are encoded in DNA found inside the cell's nucleus. But sometimes, the DNA that controls these instructions becomes altered. DNA can become damaged for many reasons, including random mistakes and exposure to harmful factors. Fortunately, cells have repair systems that can detect and fix much of this damage. But sometimes, the damage isn't completely repaired, leaving an altered piece of DNA behind. If the altered DNA affects important genes, the cell's behavior can begin to change. The cell may begin growing or dividing when the body doesn't need another cell. Normally, cells stop dividing when they're told to stop. This cell begins ignoring those signals. That one abnormal cell can divide, producing more cells carrying the same abnormal changes. As these cells continue multiplying, they can begin forming an abnormal mass of tissue. As the mass grows, it needs oxygen and nutrients, just like healthy tissue does. The growing mass can release signals that encourage new blood vessels to grow toward it. With more blood reaching the mass, it can receive the oxygen and nutrients needed to keep growing. But the immune system can recognize that some of these cells are abnormal. Some cancer cells can change their behavior and avoid being eliminated by the immune system. With growth controls disrupted and immune defenses sometimes evaded, the abnormal mass can continue expanding. But an abnormal growth isn't automatically cancer. Some tumors remain localized and don't invade nearby tissue. Cancer becomes dangerous when abnormal cells begin invading the tissues around them. Some cancer cells can break through the boundaries that normally keep tissues organized. Eventually, some invading cancer cells can reach nearby blood vessels. Some can cross into the vessel and enter the bloodstream. Now those cells can travel through the circulation to distant parts of the body. Some traveling cancer cells may eventually reach a different organ. To establish themselves there, some cancer cells can leave the bloodstream and enter the surrounding tissue. If those cells survive and multiply, they can eventually form a new tumor in that organ. This spread of cancer from one part of the body to another is called metastasis. And cancer isn't one single disease. Its behavior depends on where it starts and how its cells change. Early cancer can sometimes grow quietly, without causing obvious symptoms at first. When symptoms appear, they often depend on where the cancer is growing in the body. Meanwhile, your immune system is constantly searching for cells that don't belong. But some cancer cells can alter their behavior and become harder for immune defenses to recognize. That's why cancers can behave very differently, depending on their type, location, and genetic changes. Doctors use different tests to look for abnormal changes and determine whether cancer may be present. Imaging tests can reveal masses or unusual changes inside the body. When necessary, doctors can examine a small tissue sample to identify cancer cells. Once cancer is identified, treatment depends on its type, stage, location, and other factors. The goal is to remove, destroy, or control cancer, while protecting as much healthy tissue as possible. When possible, surgery can remove a tumor directly from the body. Other treatments can use medicines or focused radiation to target cancer cells. Finding cancer earlier can give doctors more opportunities to treat it before it spreads. Cancer is complex, but at its core, it begins when cells lose the normal controls that keep their growth in check. Cancer isn't one sudden event. It's a process that can begin with a tiny change and develop over time.